My name is James Benvenuti, Benvenuti.
Thank you. Attorney Dominguez.
Good morning.
Morning.
We see you in uniform today. Can you tell us a little bit about where you're employed?
Sure. I'm a conservation officer with the New Hampshire Fish and Game Department based out of the Keene office.
Out of the Keene office. And so, what does that mean, conservation officer? Are you a police officer, or are you just out in the woods? What does that mean?
Yep. Fully certified police officer. We go through the same police academy any other law enforcement in New Hampshire does. My primary objectives are to enforce the state's fish and wildlife regulations as well as any criminal regulations in the state.
Okay. And so, you said that you went to the police academy?
Yes.
So you're a full-blown police officer?
Yes.
But then there seems to be this other aspect of it, which is fish and game?
Yes.
What is your background when it comes to fish and game stuff?
I've been employed since June of 2011. Like I said, our main focus is enforcing fish and game regulations, hunting regulations, fishing regulations, off-highway recreational vehicles, snowmobiles and ATVs. We do all the search and rescue in the state. Those are our primary objectives.
And what is your educational background in addition to the police academy?
So I have a bachelor's degree with a major in conservation law enforcement from Unity College.
Okay. So we are here actually to talk less about you and more about your partner. Can you tell the jury who your partner is?
Yep, so I'm partnered with a now 7-year-old black lab, canine, Cora. We've been certified since 2017.
All right. And what does Cora do? What's her job?
So we have certifications in man trailing, footprint to footprint tracking. We do gunpowder detection. We do generalized evidence detection. And we also do fish and wildlife detection.
All right. And so you mentioned these certifications. What does it take for a dog to earn one of these certifications?
It's a rigorous process. The initial certification process is about a year long, start to finish, just based on their age. We go through a 6-week certification class to obtain those initially, and then we have to attend a minimum of 2 8-hour sessions per month all year long, and then 1 certification training per year to recertify in all those areas.
All right. And when you say recertify, does Cora have to, I imagine it's not a written exam, but does she have to take a test?
She does, yep. So when it comes to tracking, we do a minimum of 2-mile tracks that is an hour old. Detection, we have to locate gunpowder and evidence articles in fields, along roadways, just various areas to show that she can still has the ability to locate those odors.
All right. And when she's doing these tests, I know that dogs are very intelligent, but you as her handler, do you always know where the thing is hidden? Is there any chance that it's just sort of your body language telling her where to go?
During the certification process, I as the handler do not know where things are hidden. Call that a blind search. And that's to test the abilities of the dogs to make sure that the handler is not assisting in any way.
Okay. And you mentioned some 8-hour, was it 2 8-hour trainings every month?
Yes.
Is that the only training that Cora does every month?
No, we train individually on our own. We have most Mondays dedicated towards canine training, so fish and game canines do train more than just the 2, just the 2 8-hour days per month if our schedule allows it.
All right. And where does Cora live?
Cora lives with me at home.
All right. And why is that? What is the purpose of that?
It helps with the bonding process. We don't have facilities to care and maintain these dogs. We're responsible for the care and maintenance of them. Each handler is on their own.
You mentioned that the training is sometimes individual and ongoing. Do you ever do any of this training at home?
I do.
All right. And can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yep, it kind of depends on the season. We have a pretty dynamic job as conservation officers, so as it gets closer to hunting season, our focus kind of shifts towards fish and wildlife detection and gunpowder detection. to come along, to coincide with the hunting seasons. During the spring and summer months, we focus a lot on search and rescue. So we do a lot of tracking, things like that at home.
Okay. Now, I have a dog at home, and my dog can't do any of these things. So what is so special about Cora?
Just the amount of rigorous training that she's gone through to be able to have those abilities.
Right, but I can barely get my dog to sit. So can you tell us a little bit more about that? How do you train Cora? So you've mentioned a couple different things. So tracking and the gunpowder, the tracking. How do you teach Cora to find a lost person in the woods?
Yeah, it starts very basically just introduction into lost people. We put a person in front of her with a toy to tease her with, just like you tease a puppy, and have them run away and hide. And we play literally just games of hide and go seek.
All right. And so you said that she's certified in a couple different things. So there's the tracking, which you just described, fish and wildlife, I think you said?
Yes.
And so, forgive me, what's the difference between just tracking and then fish and wildlife?
Yeah, so fish and wildlife detection would be similar to how a drug dog finds narcotics. Again, our focus is to protect fish and wildlife in the state, so rather than finding drugs, we find fish, venison, and turkey that could be concealed somewhere.
Okay. And then that's still different than gunpowder detection.
Yes.
All right. And so how does Cora know, or how do you communicate to Cora what exactly she's looking for? Like if you go out into the woods and you're looking for a missing person, how are you going to make sure she's not going to just find a dead turkey?
Yep, so we do that through a command and a certain harness or collar we put on her, depending on what she's going to be looking for. So if it's a tracking situation, we have a full body harness that we put on her, and she gets a command of track. If we're looking for gunpowder or evidence, it's just a thick collar with a buckle that makes a loud click, and we use a command of search.
Okay. So that's how you communicate that to her. How do you make sure that she doesn't get distracted? You said that you use a toy or some food. I think you said peanut butter. How do you make sure she doesn't just go and find a jar of peanut butter?
We try to put distractions in our trainings. So we will put out, when we have a target odor that we're trying to find, whether it be gunpowder, fish and wildlife detection, on occasion we'll put out distracting odors. Could be laundry detergent, could be, like you said, peanut butter, could be some other distracting non-target odor.
Okay. Is Cora good at her job?
I'd like to think she's pretty good at her job.
All right. And has Cora won any awards?
Yes, she has.
Can you tell us about those?
She's won evidence detection awards through the Vermont Police Canine Association, which is where we hold our certifications. She's won fish and game detection awards through the same organization.
Okay. Cora has been able to find people who are lost or hurt in the woods.
She has.
Has Cora been able to sort of reach your objectives in the fish and wildlife?
Yep, she has.
And then when it comes to gunpowder, has Cora successfully been able to find things that might have a gunpowder smell on them?
She has.
Okay. Now, when Cora does all this, I imagine that some circumstances are better than others, some environmental circumstances. Is that
Yes.
fair?
Yep.
Can you tell us a little bit about how the environment affects Cora?
Yep. Everything from rainfall to barometric pressure, we found to affect our dogs. Their success and their abilities, can be affected by humidity, sunlight, heat, pretty much any environmental factor.
Okay, so does that mean that Cora doesn't go out in the rain?
No, we do train and practice in the rain.
Okay. Can Cora find, or has Cora found, evidence with gunpowder that was submerged in water?
Yep, she has.
So when Cora is trained on the gunpowder detection, can you describe a little bit more about what the objects are that she is looking for and how they are placed?
When it comes to gunpowder detection, we train a lot with shell casings, shotgun shells, wads, rifle casings, handgun casings. Usually those objects are placed out along roadways, in wooded areas, mostly outdoor settings.
Okay. And so, can you tell the jury a little bit about if you're out looking for something, say you're doing a training at home, and you've hidden something with a gunpowder smell on it. Can you walk us through the process of giving Cora the command and what she does and what her body does and how you respond to it?
Yep. So start off the same way, put a collar on her, hold her back a little bit, give her a pat on the chest, tell her to search. That tells her she's looking for gunpowder or evidence articles. When she gets close to an article, her speed will slow down tremendously. She'll get close to it, her tail will wag in a pretty fast manner, and she will lay down with that object in between her paws until I walk up and reward her.
Okay. And is Cora only able to search for things on the ground?
No, we do elevated hides from time to time as well.
Okay. Has Cora ever found something that was sort of elevated?
Yep.
Can you tell us about that?
We hide evidence articles, in trees from time to time, during trainings.
All right. So it's up in a tree and she can still potentially find it?
Yep. We try to put the evidence articles, within arm's reach of ourselves. We're not scaling trees to hide these articles, but we do put them elevated.
Okay. And so you sort of described how Cora's behavior begins to change when she gets near an object. Is that fair?
Yes.
Okay. And so what happens? Well, we were able to have a conversation previously. Yes.
Yes.
And you told me about a situation where your wife hid.
Objection, Your Honor, may we approach?
Yes.
All right. So can you tell the jury a little bit about how Cora does what she does? Why is her nose so much better than ours?
It's just got to do with a dog's anatomy.
Okay. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yep. They have tens of thousands more olfactory receptors than we do in our noses. Just the sheer size of their nose versus ours allows them to take in that odor and process that odor a lot better than we do.
All right. And if an odor, well, so you say that they can process odors better than we do. They can smell things we can't? Is that fair?
At a much greater distance, yes, that's fair. Yep.
Okay. At a much greater distance. What about, an object that has, what about a smell that has dissipated, that perhaps you and I couldn't smell?
The dog would be able to pick up on it.
All right. And so you talk about tracking, and so Cora is able to sort of track Can Cora only find objects that are not moving?
No.
So can Cora sort of tell if there's been an object has been moved?
I'm sure she can. That would be hard for her to communicate that.
Okay. When she begins to smell something, when you're out on the field and she's in her training and she starts to smell something, what is her body language?
Like I said, she slows down quite a bit, just gets more meticulous in her search patterns, and she'll work that odor back towards the source of it.
Okay. And so when you see that happening, what is it that you do? How do you interpret that?
I start paying attention a little bit closer. Obviously, my interest gets perked up when I see that behavior. And during training sessions, I will stand pat where I am to not give her any indication that she may have to lay down right there or whatnot. But it just kind of piques my interest when I see that behavior.
All right. And in your training sessions with Cora, are there times where you've been able to sort of interpret her behavior with an object that's been moved?
I guess I don't quite understand what you're talking about.
All right. So you said that sometimes you will hide things for her to find.
Yes.
All right. What were to happen or have you had the situation where you hide it in one place and then change your mind and hide it somewhere else?
Yep. So I'm following you now. So yep, she will show interest in those areas where that object had been previously.
Okay.
She will not give a final indication if it's not there.
All right. And when you're out in the field, do you always wait until that final indication to do whatever it is you're going to do next?
Training scenarios, yes, but if it's a real life scenario, no. If I can pick up on that she's close to an object, I will come up to her to see what she's interested in.
And then what will you do?
I'll look to see what she's interested in.
Okay. And if you see that there's an object of interest, what do you do then?
I'll take her away from it. I'll mark it somehow, and have somebody else come and take a look at it.
Why? Why wouldn't you just let her finish her job and lay on top of it or have it between her paws?
Disturbs the area a little bit.
Okay. Any other reason? No?
I mean, that's the primary reason. If it's a real life scenario and I can see it before she can find it, it still accomplishes the same objective.
Okay. All right, so I want to talk about Cora's work in this case. Did Cora ever have the opportunity to go and search the area of the Marsh Loop Trail?
She did.
And when was that?
April 22nd,
And do you recall around what time of day it was?
a little after 10 a.m.
Right. Was she the only dog out there?
She was not.
All right. So there was a second dog out there with her?
There was.
Okay. Now, Cora, was she the most experienced dog out there?
Yes.
What information did you have when you and Cora first arrived?
When we first arrived, we had information that 2 people had been shot, and that we would be looking for evidence of that shooting.
All right. you talked about how Cora has the different certifications and you communicate her job to her through her collars. What sort of collar did you put on her on this day?
We put the same color on her I always do when we look for gunpowder and evidence articles.
Okay, and it's the one that makes the loud click?
It's the color that makes the loud click.
All right. So, Cora knew that you were specifically looking for items with gunpowder.
Yes.
All right. And whereabouts did you start your search?
We started our search where the Marsh Loop Trail met the power lines.
Okay.
We continued up along that trail, a few hundred feet past where the crime scene was.
All right. And so, can you describe? So you've explained how you deploy Cora. How did you deploy her on this particular day?
Put a collar on her, gave her a pat on the chest, and told her to search.
All right. And can you describe what she did?
Yep, so Cora searched like she usually does, checking out the edges of that trail. Like I said, all the way up through that crime scene and a few hundred feet past it.
You mentioned that there was another dog. Were they searching side by side?
They weren't. So Canine Winnie and Conservation Officer St. Pierre went first. And we tried to avoid distraction as best we could, so gave them a little bit of a head start till they were just out of sight, so the dogs didn't get distracted by each other.
All right. And were you able to see what Canine Winnie was doing when Cora was doing her job?
No, I didn't really pay attention to them. That's Officer St. Pierre's job, is to control his dog.
All right. And this may sound like a silly question, but if you're trained to work with these dogs and a different officer is trained to work with the dogs, can you guys sort of like flip-flop and...
It probably could, but it's not our practice to do that.
Okay, it's not your practice to do that. All right, so what happens when Cora gets down towards the area identified as the crime scene?
Yep, so she showed interest in a spot towards the middle of the trail. Like I said, she just became a little bit more meticulous, had her nose down in a certain area. When I went over to her, I noticed there was a fair amount of blood in the trail.
Okay. And had she given the full signal pause on the ground yet?
She had not.
She had not. But what was the reason you checked that specific area though?
Like I said, her body language just slowed down a little bit, and she seemed interested in the area, so
And at that point, what did you do with Cora?
just put her on a leash, held her on a collar, called over a detective to see if something they had seen yet, and
All right. If I can have just one moment.
Of course.
So I'm going to show you what's been marked for identification. Oh, no, sorry. Full Exhibit 1162.
I think you just hold it up, yeah.
Okay. Do you recognize this?
yes.
Okay. Can you show us, or rather, can you show the jury where Cora began showing that intense interest?
It's pretty much at that point where the suspected drag path meets the Marsh Loop Trail, kind of in this neck of the woods.
Okay.
Can all the jurors see? Okay, great. Thank you.
What other areas did Cora search?
So we searched on that map, searched the entirety of that Marsh Loop Trail. We looked probably 20, 30 yards each side of the Marsh Loop Trail in the wooded area. And then we looked around the area of the suspected drag path.
Okay. Did you search down where the recovery site was?
Not the recovery site specifically, but around it.
Okay. Why did you stay away from the recovery site specifically?
There was other officers and detectives working on something else in that immediate area, so we just worked around them.
Okay. Were there any other areas that you did not search?
mean, like I said, just pretty much the immediate area, the Marsh Loop Trail, 20, 30 yards either side of it.
Okay.
I don't think that whole map would be covered red if we had a GPS track on it. You know, I'm sure there's some gaps in there, but
All right. And did you search around tree number 1?
yes,
Did Cora find anything there?
we did not.
Thank you, officer. I don't think I have any further questions for you.
Cross-examination?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. Officer, you and K-9 Cora go through extensive training, is that right?
That's right.
And the goal, of course, is not to miss evidence.
That's the goal.
But that can happen.
That can happen.
And in some ways, Cora's success depends on if she's in the right location.
Correct.
And how many homicide investigations have you been involved in?
Not many. Well, I guess you'd have to define a homicide.
Fair.
We look into a lot of deer that get killed illegally.
Fair
But-
enough. Okay. I'm thinking of a person.
Yep.
Involving person.
Yeah, not many people homicides.
Okay.
Yep.
And it's even possible to inadvertently direct Cora in a direction.
Yes. Yep.
Now, in this case, the scene was a wooded area,
Correct.
so it was outside.
Yep.
And the trails were, except for the portion of time when the scene was secured, open to the public.
Yes.
And there's many leaves, sticks, debris.
Yes. Yep.
And certain conditions make it more difficult for K-9 Cora to do her job.
Correct.
And you mentioned on direct examination that weather can play a role in that.
Correct.
Because is it fair to say that odors can dissipate over time?
Yes, it is fair.
And rain can affect that as well?
Yep.
And in your training and experience, in your years in law enforcement, are there times when, say, a piece of physical evidence has not been found in a scene?
Yes.
And there could be a variety of reasons for that.
Yep.
Sometimes investigators may miss something.
Correct.
It may have been because of the nature of the scene.
Correct.
correct?
Yep.
It could also be maybe the nature of what that item was. Maybe it was something that was very small,
Correct.
could be easily moved.
Could be. Yep.
And something that could be easily moved by, say, just a bystander incidentally.
Yeah, could be.
Could have been concealed by a suspect.
Could be.
I have no further questions.
Thank you. Further direct examination?
How many times has Cora failed her certifications?
We haven't
Objection, Your
failed.
Honor, outside the scope.
Sustained, stricken.
Judge.
May I approach?
Yes.
I have no further questions.
Okay. Any objection to excusing, is it Officer, do you go by?
Yeah.
Officer Benvenuti, or, Benvenuti.
No, I'd ask that he be excused.
Any objection to excusing Officer Benvenuti?
No, thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, you're excused.
Thank you,
You're
Your
free to go, sir.